When dinner time gets here,
You can make it, you can make it.
and your wife has made it clear,
You can make it, you can make it.
it's your turn to cook, my dear.
You can make it, you can make it.
You have no need to fear.
You can make it, you can make it.
Make the dinner feed your spouse, bring peace into your house. You can make it. If you're lucky, she will say,
We will make it, we will make it.
life will be okay. Life will be okay. You can make it.
Welcome to another edition of You Can Make It. Today we're going to make something that's incredibly easy to make, but is one of the best things to have in your kitchen, and that's barbecue sauce. We're going to be making Passing Wind Estates barbecue sauce. It's a Kansas City sauce. It's called that because it has a tomato base and it's kind of sweet. So let's get into it and look at what ingredients we need to make Passing Wind Estates barbecue sauce. To make my version of barbecue sauce, what you need is 125 milliliters or half a cup of finely chopped onion. You need 2 tablespoons or 25 milliliters of butter or margarine. You need 2 cloves of garlic chopped up. You need 1.5 cups or 375 milliliters of ketchup. You need a half a cup, 125 milliliters of water. You need a quarter of a cup or 50 milliliters of cider vinegar, a quarter of a cup or 50 milliliters of Worcester sauce, 2 tablespoons or 25 milliliters of molasses, a quarter of a teaspoon or 2 milliliters of hot pepper sauce, a quarter of a teaspoon or 2 milliliters of fresh ground black pepper, 2 tablespoons or 25 milliliters of brown sugar, and 2 teaspoons or 10 milliliters of chili powder. That's all you need. You start off by throwing the butter or margarine in a saucepan and putting the heat on medium. And you're just going to let it sit there until the butter starts to bubble. When the butter begins to bubble like that, it's time to throw in the onions. You're going to let them sit over medium heat for between 10 and 20 minutes, stirring often until they're golden brown. This is after 5 minutes. And you can see that it's not brown yet, but it is starting to get a yellow color, which means that it is on its way. After 10 minutes, you can see it's got a nice golden color. It might take a bit longer if your stove's a little cooler, but now that you've got that golden color, you want to add the garlic. And continue stirring for 1 more minute. Okay, so we got a nice brown color. We got the garlic in there. So now we're going to add the rest of the ingredients. There's our 1.5 cups, 375 milliliters of ketchup. The half cup of water. Which is 125 milliliters of water. The quarter of a cup or 50 milliliters of cider vinegar. The 50 milliliters or a quarter of a cup of Worcestershire sauce, the 2 tablespoons or 25 milliliters of molasses, a exact quarter teaspoon of fresh ground pepper, a quarter of a teaspoon of red pepper sauce, and 2 tablespoons of brown sugar or 25 milliliters and 2 teaspoons of chili powder or 10 milliliters. Stir it all up and put it back on medium heat until it comes just to a boil. All that stirring of the onions and waiting for this to come to the boil with an occasional stir is just plain tuckered me out. It's time for some muscle relaxant red wine taken internally. After about 5 minutes with frequent stirring, the sauce just starts to get those bubbles breaking the surface. That's exactly what you want to get it to. Now we're going to lower the heat to low and let it simmer with frequent stirring so it doesn't stick to the bottom for another 10 minutes. After 10 minutes of stirring and simmering the sauce, it has come to a nice thick consistency and a nice dark rich color. If you want it thicker, you can continue simmering it to bring the thickness up. But I don't recommend you try and make it as thick as the commercial varieties because they use special ingredients to make it thicken. Plus which I find this consistency is better for brushing on dishes when you barbecue them, or even better when you have ribs or chicken at the table. Heat a little bit of this up in a cup and people can dip it in as they eat the chicken or ribs, and this consistency is just perfect for that. One of the best things about making barbecue sauce yourself is you can make it exactly as you like it. You should take a taste of your barbecue sauce after you make it. Delicious. Sweet with a touch of sour, spicy, got the earthy flavors of the brown onions, just delicious. But you might like yours a little differently than I do. If it's too spicy for you, you could take the pepper sauce out. If you like it spicier, you can add a 1/4 teaspoon of pepper sauce at a time, or maybe a little bit of cayenne at a time, until it gets the spice level you like. If it's too sweet for you, you could take out some of the molasses or brown sugar, or if it's not sweet enough, you could add more. If you like bolder flavors, you could add more of the Worcester or the chili powder. If you like it sharper, you can add more of the vinegar. Just make it the way that you like it. The best thing about it is, once you've made it the way you like it, you can call it whatever you want to call it. But I call this version Passing Wind Estates barbecue sauce. You can make it, and I love it. Cheers.
When dinner time gets near,
You can make it, you can make it.
and your wife has made it
You
clear,
can make it, you can make it.
it's your turn to cook, my dear.
You can make it, you can make it.
You have no need to fear.
You can make it, you can make it.
Make the dinner feed your spouse, bring peace into your house. You can make it. If you're lucky, she will say,
We will make it, we will make it.
and life will be okay. Life will be okay. You can make it.